Hello F11 members and welcome to the Fundamentals of Post-Production video tutorials for issue 87, April 2019. On the screen in front of us we have a picture from my shoot on London Bridge just last month. You can read about that shoot in the What's in a Picture feature, but I thought we'd just go through the processing of this picture, which I think is one of the stronger images. It says so much about the walk to work that so many of the people who work in the city trudging over from London Bridge to the city and back again in the evening. A guy looking at his phone. I think it just is a pretty iconic picture, particularly with the Shard in the background. On the left you can see the picture, the raw, straight out of the camera, and on the right the finished processed image. Not a great deal of difference, I'm sure you'll agree, but not every picture has to be a triumph of processing skills. It's often the fine tweaks that are the most important. So let's just run through what I've done to this image here, and if I come back to import and go back to the pane where I just see the single image there, and what am I going to do? How am I going to start? Well, the first thing that needs addressing is, of course, the fact that it's not level. Inevitable when you're shooting quickly that horizons are sometimes shooting quickly handheld, that horizons are not always completely level. So we're going to deal with that first, and so I'm going to come into the develop module here and just scroll down to this area here where it says lens correction, just above lens. Where has it gone? Here we go, transform. So I'm going to experiment just by clicking on auto, see what Lightroom does. Nothing. Okay, so what we're going to have to do, let's just cancel that, is do this manually. So what I'm going to do, come up here, and if I go to my crop pane here, and I'm now going to rotate the picture here, and I can do it manually just by like that, or I can, if I want to, just highlight the figure on the right and do it in really small increments that way, which I think is often better. So I'm looking, can you see this angle here of the Shard? That's such a dominant feature. I need that to be absolutely perpendicular. So just by clicking just by using the up shift key on my keyboard, I'm altering the angle of rotation so that the picture there is completely perpendicular. So that's worked pretty well there. And I'm just going to move this angle in, this edge here in, because I'm a little bit concerned about, can you see that bit there, just of that figure encroaching on the right of the frame there. So I'm just going to crop that out, and there we go. I think that's improved the picture radically already. Just come up here a bit, give it a bit more room. Okay, that's good. Click on done there, and now I've got a level picture. Okay, so next thing, what do I want to do? Oh, look at the tonality of the picture. Looking at my histogram here, there's a few blacks which are clipping. If I held down the Alt key on my keyboard and grasped the blacks there, you can see just the merest hint of a few blacks which are clipping. So I'm just going to come here to the shadows. Now there's no rule that says that all dark areas have to have detail. There is beauty in a pure black, but nevertheless I'm just going to bump up the shadow detail just a touch, up to about +10 there. But I think the image is looking a little bit flat now, so I'm going to scroll down here to my tone curve and just use this default here, down here at the bottom of the point curve tab, click on medium contrast, put a bit of contrast back into the picture. I think that's given it more oomph. Okay, it's looking good. So what else do I need to do? I think really I need to add a bit of tonality to the sky. It's looking a bit bright, really. There's tone there, but I want to make it a bit darker. So I'm going to just use the Grad Tool here. So I hold down the Shift key, drag the Grad down from the top of the frame here until it starts incurring on the top of the buildings there. So a really nice, soft Grad. And now if I come along here to my exposure slider on the Grad Tool, I'm going to come back on there to put some tone into the sky, which looks great, doesn't it? Just go for even more of a softer gradation there. Okay, but the thing is, of course, I'm affecting this, my main figure in the foreground here. I'm darkening down his head. So I'm going to fine tune this Grad Tool here by going to Brush now. And now if I come down here and show selected mask overlay, click on that box there. And what I want to do is erase away the area of the Grad that's affecting his head there. So if I click on down here, erase, make sure I've got the size of my brush is right. So just adjust that accordingly. And now I'm just going to erase away the effect of the Grad. The red is showing me where the Grad is affecting. So what I want to do is erase away that red tinge. It's only an indicator. And I've got, can you see down here, I've got auto mask clicked on. So it's going to pick up that hard edge around him and make sure we're not darkening him down unduly. Done this many times before. Do it to this guy here as well. Okay. Really useful tool, this. We've done this many times before, but it doesn't hurt to show it again. I'm not too worried about darkening down the buildings themselves back there. I think they can do with it. I'm going to now click on Done, see how that affects the picture, and I'm pretty pleased with that. So what else needs to be done? I think we'll just add just a touch more vibrance here. Again, I'm going to click on the number there and use the up and down shift on my keyboard to add in the value I want. You can be more precise doing it this way than trying to drag the slider. I'm going to go up to about 12, maybe 14 on the vibrance slider. I think if I start getting up towards 20 on vibrance, then I really need to ask myself some questions then. Okay, and I think that's looking pretty good for this picture. Let's just go back to where we started again. Can you see down here those two, this indication here, YY, I don't know why it's Y, but click on that and it shows you the before and after. Not a huge difference, but certainly enough to really, that doesn't of course include the crop feature that we did right at the start. I can of course, to show you the real difference, go back on the history here, down here, go back to import and go back to where we are at the moment, vibrance, and I think you can see that's quite a radical transformation. The essence of the picture is there though. So let's now go for an export. I've finished with this picture. It needs to be checked for dust imperfections, but as it's a brand new camera, the EOS R, I shot it using the 24-70 RF lens, sorry, 28-70 f2 RF lens, which is a really nice lens. I'm going to export this picture now, so I come across here. I want to put it in a folder called Processed Images. I select that folder on my media drive, which is a separate hard drive here we've got in the office for the high-res library, and this is just a temporary file, and pictures will be put in here and picked up by Wendy and checked for imperfections. I want to give it a name now. I'm going to put it in subfolder, so I'm going to call it March 2019. That's when I've processed it. I'm going to rename the image, so I'm going to call it London. And I'm going to keep its original file name here. I come down to the export settings here, file settings. I want to export it as a TIFF. I want to export it in the color space. At the moment it's in ProPhoto RGB. I'm going to convert it now to Adobe 98, Adobe RGB 98. That's the standard color space for most images, not RGB, as in if you look at the options here, sRGB for web use. We want to keep it in Adobe RGB 98. No compression. I'm now going to drop it down to an 8-bit file. And because I've done all the work I need to on it, it's just a bit of dust busting that needs to be done. I do not want to resize the picture. Resolution, it's pretty meaningless, but let's just say I'm going to put 300 in there. It's the actual pixel dimensions that are important, not so much this resolution setting on the export, but nevertheless, I'm putting 300 in there. After export, I want to just check it for imperfections in Photoshop, so I'm going to ask Lightroom to open it up in Adobe 98. And that's it. That's the image done. As you can see, it took me just minutes to process this image, and that's pretty normal, really. I'm trying to cut down my processing time, keep things simple, concentrate on getting the right picture in camera. Okay, that's it. In part 2, I'm going to be working on a black and white image from my shoot with pentathlete Kate French. Thank you.